Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the podcast. So, we touched last week on goal setting as a way to combat depression, and one thing that we touched on is purpose. As you recall, I was springboarding off of a passage from 1 Nephi chapter 8 and sharing my personal interpretation of the darkness that Lehi experienced in his dream was that of not knowing what to do or where to go. So where we left off, he's pointed in a direction, he works his way there, and he gets the blessing of eating some really amazing fruit. So I'll pick up in verse 12. And as I partook of the fruit thereof, it filled my soul with exceedingly great joy. Wherefore I began to be desirous that my family should partake of it also, for I knew that it was desirable above all other fruit. And as I cast my eyes round about, that perhaps I might discover my family also, I beheld a river of water, and it ran along, and it was near the tree of which I was partaking the fruit. And I looked to behold from whence it came, and I saw the head thereof a little way off, and at the head thereof I beheld your mother Sariah, and Sam, and Nephi, and they stood as if they knew not whither they should go. And it came to pass that I beckoned unto them, and I also did say unto them with a loud voice that they should come unto me, and partake of the fruit which was desirable above all other fruit. And it came to pass that they did come unto me, and partake of the fruit also. So these members of Lehi's family are experiencing the same problem that Lehi had. They stood as if they knew not where to go. Man, and I can totally picture those people standing there just frozen by having no idea what to do or where to go. It's a yucky feeling. But Lehi, having just received a destination and worked to get there, passed that knowledge along. So when we are in a depressed state, our focus and our world just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It's a cycle that actually just serves to make us feel even worse. Questions like why me and what's even the point become really common. That's when I believe that looking to what we can do for others is a really good antidote. And keeping the principle of mental flexibility in mind, I suggest doing something that feels like a little bit of a stretch. You might feel like you have nothing to give, but that's actually still just focusing on yourself. Ask instead, what do the people around me need? Are my friends doing okay? Text them and ask. Is that stranger at the grocery store feeling stressed out or sad? Look them in the eyes and smile. That might feel uncomfortable, but it's not about you, remember? Depending on the stretch that you are up for, you could find a way to volunteer or have a local drive to collect goods for a refugee family. Or think again of Lehi and his experience. He wandered, having no direction and feeling pretty miserable until he was shown the way to go. And then, seeing that his family also had no direction, he called out to them and helped them to see the destination. So, what have your struggles been? What do you wish that somebody else had done for you? I guarantee that you are not the only person to feel that way. Maybe you have been a lonely stay-at-home mom trying to get through the day with little kids. Reach out to another mom who might be feeling the same. Maybe you are feeling stressed out and isolated at work. It's a safe bet that any downcast-looking worker is in the same boat. Strike up a conversation. These are things that will stretch you, but remember, it's not about you. In the mentoring group I belong to, we often have the chance to talk about a struggle we're facing and get some brainstorming help from the group. I had given this podcast a first attempt and wasn't really getting any traction, and I felt really discouraged. I told the group that I was having a hard time feeling motivated to put it out there because it didn't seem to be making any difference, since there were only a handful of downloads. One of my classmates asked me, What if just one person decides not to commit suicide after listening to your podcast? Of course, that made all the difference. Then it didn't matter anymore that I only had a few downloads. Instead of thinking about myself, which is basically what being discouraged by a small reaction or a small reception is, she was inviting me to think about the one very important person that I could touch. Studies have shown that service reduces loneliness and decreases depression. You might feel like service only means volunteering somewhere, but remember, here I am trying to reach people who need me from the basement office I have in my home. You can find ways to help someone else, no matter what your circumstances are. Reaching out to someone else might seem scary or hard, so let me remind you, the subconscious judges safety by how familiar something is. That's not a good standard. Way too many things that actually aren't good for you get a pass because they are familiar. And so many things that you have never experienced or ever done get the not safe rating, even though they won't even come close to causing you harm. So let's pause and remember that one, your subconscious is going to make a fuss. But just like you don't give in to a tantruming toddler, you can tell your subconscious no. 2, doing something new gives your brain a hit of dopamine. And 3, making someone else smile also gives your own brain a release of dopamine. So you can do this, and it's totally worth it. I am currently preparing an online challenge for people who want to reduce or to get off of sugar. If you've heard the episode on what not to feed your brain, hopefully you have felt like reducing your sugar intake would be a good thing. But I bring the challenge up today because there will be a range of components. We talked in the last episode about the benefit of having a goal, and in the challenge we'll be working as a group towards a common goal. Today I am sharing with you the mental benefits of having a purpose larger than yourself. And in the challenge, you will be part of a community that will help and encourage each other. So, if you would benefit from a reduction in your sugar intake, if you could use some hand holding in that setting in setting and reaching a goal, and if you would benefit from a community that uplifts you and where you can also give back, this will be a very great opportunity for you. Stay tuned, more information will be upcoming, and in the meantime, see if you can lift somebody's spirits this week. I'll put the link again for the class that I have put together, just the free little mini class on tools to use for when you're struggling with motivation, as all of these things relate. And hopefully you'll join the challenge, and I'll be able to give you more support in a more familiar, more immediate way. But in the meantime, do something to lift somebody else's spirits and have a wonderful week. Love you. Bye-bye.